Hi, this is Dave Revels, your host of Move That Mountain. Together we'll explore ways of moving that mountain that stands between you and where you need to be.
Greetings, everybody. I'm back. This is my second broadcast. As I said before, disclaimer up front, this is new to me. I'm going to learn as I go. Hopefully I'll get better. But the motives is all the same, being positive about your environment and people around you and how to enhance people's life rather than subtract from folks' lives. So this program is called Move That Mountain, which means if there's anything standing between you and where you want to be, we got to find a solution how to get around that. So that's what we're going to be exploring in this program. One of the things with a future program I'd like to put in your ear from now is I'd like to hear from people who, because of the pandemic, are doing something completely different from what they were doing pre-pandemic. Whatever profession or job you had, you no longer have it, but you did something else, and now you're making a living doing that. I'd like to hear from you so that we could discuss how you did it, because what you folks are is an actual living, breathing roadmap atlas for people who are struggling and can't find their way. So don't discount your story. Your story could be the answer for someone who's struggling. So I look forward to hearing from you with that message, okay? So this trip now, for this program, what I'm going to be talking to you about pretty much and sharing with you are people in the world who have spent their entire life connecting with the public through entertainment, through the program they do. Which is sharing music for people to dance to. Talking about DJs, DJs who DJ live, not just on the air, but actually live events and concerts and weddings, whatever they do. They play a vital role because, as you know, many people are not really using bands, they're using DJs. So they play a pivotal role in the lives of people because they actually have to have the finger on the pulse of what people want to hear and dance to. We're going to talk today about a very interesting form of music that's been popular for years, and folks up north probably don't even know about it. But we're talking about things like Carolina Shag, bop music, swing music. And it's new to me too, even though back in the day when I was a member of the Drifters and playing the Carolina coastline, I used to watch the people on the dance floor dancing this form of music while I'm performing with the Drifters. A Save the Last Dance to Me under the boardwalk, sand in my shoes. And I said, wow, look at that dance. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. A lot of intricate dance steps and over the shoulder moves and behind the back and under between the legs, all this wonderful creative stuff that's very athletic. And it's being done not by just young people in their 20s, because it covers many ages, because a lot of people from all ages like it, but it's primarily with a 55 and older crowd. And you watch some of these 55 and older crowd dancing. I mean, it's very physical. So today I'm talking about, because of the pandemic, not being able to go out and dance like that and gathering with all their friends and keeping socially active, how are they coping with that? Well, the answer is people like my guest I'll be coming on in a few minutes, DJ Mike Hall. He's from Kentucky, and he is one of the premier guys in that genre. And we're going to talk about what he's doing. He has a show on mixlr.com where he has a chat room and all the people who used to attend the events and who listen to his program because he's sharing all the music they love, and they get to talk. You know, so they're socially interacting, which is so vital now. Even if you have a job, it's your outlet on the weekends was going shagging and bopping and swinging and all that. And now you can't fully do that. But in this program, they're talking about, yeah, I'm dancing in my living room right now to you, you know, love that song. I happened to be on the air with Mike Hall on the show a couple of days ago. Yesterday, I think. Days fly by for me right now. And it was an amazing experience. I got to meet some of his listeners, and they treated me like a long lost brother that they were happy to hear from. And I can't tell you how welcome that made me feel. So, but before we get to that, what I would like to do is share with you a video clip of what that kind of music really is, okay? Check this out.
Number 6, make a little bit of noise for Sam West and Ellen Taylor. Sam and Miss Ellen would like fast blues, please.
Cool, right? So and that's the kind of that's called Carolina Shag, and that's one of the premier talents in that genre. It's pretty amazing, actually. So they're great, you know, fantastic. And you can see a lot of these videos if you go to YouTube and just bring up Carolina Shag, swing, beach music, and you see a lot of this. And you might even want to learn how to dance yourself and take some lessons because there are people who give that kind of dance lessons for that. So it's early in the show, but again, recapping a little bit, I would like you folks listening to share with me. You can go to my Facebook page. My name is Dave Rebels, of course, and you can leave me messages there. And like I said, if you have a story where you're doing something completely different from what you did pre-pandemic, and are chugging along in life, I'd like you to share that because, again, like I said, you have navigated a very horrible sea and you are a living, breathing roadmap of people who are struggling. So share it with me so I can share your story, okay, and encourage folks. So it's a little early, but I think I'd like to bring Mike Hall in if he's there to talk about him. And I'd like him to tell a little bit of his story because I'm just going to botch it if I try to tell his story because it's an amazing thing. He's been around doing this music art for quite some time. Mike, you there?
Hey, Dave, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great. That was pretty nice dancing, huh?
That picture might scare people off that you just posted up there, so don't post that.
You're a good-looking guy. Don't worry about that.
I used that to scare the crowzoy in the garden in the back. Hi, everybody. How we doing out there? Good to see you, Dave. Thank you so much for asking me to be here.
Yeah, so maybe you can start by giving people a little background of yourself and of the genre that you've been entrenched in for quite some time. So
I'll try to do that pretty quick for you. Yeah, as far as myself, I started DJing in 1977, and I was in Virginia, down in Danville, Virginia, which is Southeast Virginia. I DJed ever since then. I also did music retail with a group called Camelot Music. That was around a lot. That's kind of the retail part of it, but I love the other side of it. And that's what I kept doing. Even when I was doing retail, I was still doing road shows, still doing weddings, still doing outside venues and things like that, and helping keep a lot of different music alive. Believe it or not, in that era, I was a disco DJ. So I did a lot of disco, and I also did the Shag as far as dance lessons in one of the clubs that I was in down in Danville. Moving on through the years, I ended up here in Louisville in 1994. In 1994, I came in, didn't know anyone. I actually had some people come into the store I was running for Camelot Music and tell me about this club here in Louisville called Derby City Bop. At that time, it was called Derby City Bop Association. And DCB is what we call it now, Derby City Bop, What is bop? Well, bop is derivative of jitterbug, slower, like you were saying in the prelude. When you're thinking about swing music, you're thinking about the younger people who are swinging those guys and girls over their shoulders and underneath and everything like that. We can't quite do that anymore. And some of us couldn't do it in the first place. But now it's more of a slower dance, a little bit slower. We like our beats in the 125 to 140 beat section. Whereas when we're talking about Carolina Shag, which is what you were showing, the fantastic first lady of Shag there, Ellen Taylor, and one of the best, if not the best, teachers and dancers that Shag's ever had in Sam West. What they were doing almost with the music that was playing is our type of music for bop. And Shag is a little bit different as far as the music is concerned, as you know, because you're doing such a great job with your new music that is just hitting the pocket for all the dancers down in the Southeast. But Shag and Carolina Shag, of course, came out of the North Myrtle Beach and Myrtle Beach area, the Grand Strand area down there. Like you were saying with the Drifters, you went down and played in Virginia Beach, probably Myrtle Beach as well, and saw all those dancers down there. On this side of the mountain, as we call it, over here in Kentucky, well, in Louisville is where we're at, Louisville, Kentucky. We dance a little faster, but we love all that music down there too. Most of the guys and gals that were with us on our show on Tuesday night, we had people from here, of course, in Kentucky and Louisville. We had St. Louis, we had Illinois, we had Indiana, we had Tennessee, we had Florida, all over the place. And they're all part of that network that we started with. And now they're looking for something, in this past year with the pandemic, everything stopped. Nowhere to dance, nowhere to go. You couldn't touch anybody wearing the masks and all that. So we had to figure out something that we could keep everybody connected.
So now, first of all, how many people would you say is actually the followers and practitioners of this movement of dance? How many people would you say, if you had to put a number on it?
Oh gosh, a number. I could give you a whole area. It's all over the Southeast. It's all over the Midwest. Because when we're broadcasting, like you and I were on Tuesday night on my show, we're broadcasting to the swingers, the West Coast swing, which you guys do up there in New York as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're having some country dancers as well. I'll play a country song here or there, not a lot, but I do play it. And you'll have your two-steppers and you'll have your country swing dancers who also do West Coast swing. West Coast swing is a lot more young oriented. You have a lot more of the 20s to 40 in that. So you have all those people in Missouri out there in that area. You're talking about, in total, 50,000 people, maybe something in that area that are in a group. There's several different groups. Our group is called the American Bop Association. There's, I think, 27 clubs in it right now. And you have all the clubs in St. Louis themselves. They'll have 1,000, 2,000 members out there in just a club or two, just adding a club or two together. So all those guys out there love the more upbeat swing. They love all the Shag too, and the bop music, which tends to be blues based. A blues bass with that, as my wife Vicky calls it, the wampa wampa beat. But they love to dance to that as well. So you're talking about from anywhere from Maryland, Virginia, all the way down the East Coast, even into Florida, all the way back up into Georgia, make a hard left into Georgia and Tennessee, come on across to Western Tennessee and on up to us. And of course, the Memphis sound, the blues sound, the Chicago sound, all of that is part of what we do.
You're talking about tens of thousands of people. So now it brings me to the other question. Now that they can't go out and dance in big groups like they used to do, now that means to me, what you're doing is very vital. And I noticed when I was on board, there were a lot of people in the chat room and they were very active and they know each other. And the conversations not only flowing with you, it's flowing between each other. So I thought that was pretty exciting that they're actually talking to each other while they're listening to music and commenting about the songs that you're playing. And
you're exactly right.
That's sort of like, I guess, keeps the social interaction going. Do they ever share stories with you about what they're going through during these sessions?
Yes, we've had so many things, and with a show like what I do, and there's so many different DJs along the way. There's every day but Monday. You can hear on Mixler, Facebook Live, or on actual radio, on Riptide Radio. Even tonight, right now, while we're talking, Riptide Radio, my friend DJ Johnny Hall from Virginia, out in the Richmond area, he's broadcasting his radio show. He does that on Thursday and Sunday. So on all of those days of the week, you can hear your music and keep you involved. We're just a conduit to for you to hear the music and get out and have a good time. As we say, dancing in the kitchen. You know, one of the little codes that I used to put on my, when I first started last year, I'll be having my 1 year anniversary of doing this on March 16th. And it was like, you know, dancing in the kitchen with DJ Mike. And even on your socks, slide around the kitchen, listen to the music, keep a smile on your face and keep that music in your heart. Because as you know, and you show me every time I look at you and I hear your music, how much that music means to you in your heart. And it means to these guys too, because you're looking at an age group that's easily, you know, I hate to say it, but I'm in there too. You know, we're talking about mid 50s to mid 80s. We even have a couple of members that are 90, and they're still out there dancing. They're still out there having a great time, and it keeps them active. They hear the new music like yours. They hear their standards and their favorites. We also have theme shows that we do on our show, and so does John Hall and some of the others. Like, you know, we'll have a Mardi Gras show. We had a Valentine's show, those type things where they would be normally going out to dance. Now they're hearing the music and dancing at home.
That's good. I'm going to share another clip. It's a little longer than the first one. At the back end of it, I want you to explain it, okay? And who those folks are, right?
Sure.
Check this out, folks. You're going to love this.
30. Next, we have an exhibition that we know you will enjoy. Here from St. Louis are Gary and Charlotte Cheney.
Wow. You almost kind of give me just a second. That's that clip means a lot to us out here in the Kentucky and the Missouri area. That's Gary and Charlotte Cheney and Debbie Willis, and it's called Double Your Pleasure. They had done that many years before that. That was done at one of our dance conventions, and that's something, a 3-day or more event that we have. And unfortunately, the Chicago one that you're seeing is called Sweet Home Chicago. Is no longer. They shut that down a couple years ago. But that is bop dancing at its absolute best. Gary is no longer with us. He was president of the American Bop Association and a friend to all the bop clubs, and even the Shag Club world knew him as well. And he was just fabulous. And his wife, Charlotte, and Debbie Willis, one of their great friends who looks just like Charlotte. It's something that when you look at those guys dancing, whether it's the age group, the music, the dance moves, you can't help but smile. We love them all, and they're just fantastic people. But when you hear that kind of music, that's Rhonda McDaniel singing Me and Bobby McGee, one of the best versions you'll ever hear. And Rhonda is a great artist out of the Shag world down in the Carolinas. That music translated out to St. Louis and that kind of bop style dancing. So it's all intertwined. It's all about just having a good time, getting out, smiling, and enjoying your life. And Gary and Charlotte really set the tone for all of us with that.
Well, it's funny, serendipity there, Mike, because, I had no idea. When I went looking for the clips, that jumped out at me right away, and I said, that's incredible. And I wanted to share that. So nothing happens by accident, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It was time for him to be seen again, and by a whole new group of people who never even knew this dance.
That's true. The closest that I've got a DJ named Greg Howell that is in Virginia, and then Greg Parmenton is a DJ up in the New York area. And Greg Parmenton plays a lot of West Coast swing, and he's in our groups. I'm a former president of the National Association of R&B DJs, and he was a member of our group. I'm also a member of the Association of Beach and Shag Club DJs down in the South Carolina area. And I'm also a member of the American Bop Association Hall of Fame. They put me in 2013. Once you get so old, they just do that. But it's just about
seniority does count.
Right. But you guys up there, you dance a lot of different dances that are very, very similar. And even in Maryland, they do the DC area, they do what's called hand dancing. And with hand dancing, as you saw with Gary and Charlotte, you never let go. And that's all a form of bop as well. So I would say something to your listeners that if they're hearing this and they're looking at this and smiling, you're who I want. Find a bop club, find a Shag club, find a West Coast swing club, keep this music alive, keep this dancing alive, and keep yourself alive.
Hey, Mike, I can't say it any better than you just said it, because, you're like a great therapy session for folks now, because without, music, like I spoke to you before, is such a vital component of our lives.
Yes, sir.
And we're an extension of people's psyche, that's why people buy so many records. That's why they have so many favorite artists, And I always said that artists should never forget the importance of their role and never be arrogant about that role. To realize that when these folks come to you to listen to your music, it's because something in your songs resonate to their heart and soul.
Yes, sir.
And you're touching them in ways that they can't even put into words, except by loving you and being your fan.
That's right.
And so it's very vital that, and like I said, people say, well, can you play an instrument? Talk about people like DJs. DJs can't necessarily play an instrument, but they sure love music so much that they can play the heck out of a song list.
Well, one of us, we go hand in hand with you guys, with the live artists that are so talented. Our job, and this is the way I feel, what we're doing here, there's no compensation. We're doing this for our clubs. I'm Derby City Bop's one of their DJs, as well as being their president and now vice president. Our president, Beth Stenberg, and I got together and said, we have to keep everybody going. And we did that through the help of Derby City Bop and the board there in getting Mixler started with me. Other things that we've done here, the music, gathering the music, doing the shows, that's all about them. And it's the same way that the artists do. And when we play that music, I'm always trying my best to say who's singing, just like we did with you on Tuesday night. Go find his music, go buy his music, stream his music, do what you need to do to get that artist heard. Because without that, we're just sitting here talking.
Let me ask you this, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Some really important and vital before I run out of time.
Yeah,
How
sorry.
can they get in touch with you if they'd like to learn more about what you're doing? How can people find you?
Certainly, you can go to our Derby City Bop site on Facebook, or you can go to derbycitybop.com. It's the same thing on Facebook as well. You can also email me if you need to at hall.michael at twc.com. It's timewarnercable.com. If you have any questions or links that you would like to have for the music or dance like you saw tonight. You can also go to the American Bop Association website and the Association of Carolina Shag Clubs site as well. Also, the DJs down there, there's so many great DJs in the bop and shag world. You wouldn't believe it. Personality, music, archiving. I mean, our music goes back into the 40s and 50s. The Mills Brothers we start with. Shaggers love that kind of blues and that kind of music. So you're hearing all this great music. And my tagline that I like to use is the best music you've never heard, because you haven't. There's lots of it that a lot of your listeners haven't heard, just like I haven't heard a lot of things from the West Coast or whatever it may be. But it's out there. Find it, find yourself, and find another love for dancing and get back out there. But support your local bands. Come on our website. Come and talk to us. We'll get you hooked up in your area with a club that's close to you, where you can get out and dance. There's somebody close to you that we know. You know, I've got DJs out in California that I keep up with that are part of my DJ association, the American National Association of R&B DJs. So they're all over the place. Texas, New York, Pennsylvania, they're all over. In fact, in Pittsburgh is one of the biggest shag clubs on the East Coast, believe it or not, in Pittsburgh, Steel City Boogie Club. So if you're out in that area, if you're close to that, go find the Steel City Boogie Club and look them up. What a fantastic group. And they do a great dance every year as well. But there's 3-day dance conventions that are just terrific, that will give you a weekend of camaraderie, friendship, love of music, and just you'll find new buddies if you just go and dance.
Mike, I love this. And I'd like to know, if I invite you back, will you come back?
Yes, sir. I won't talk as much, I promise.
No, I love this. There's so much to share. And if anybody on your side want to get a hold of me, they can send me a message to my email, which is revelsmusic@gmail.com. REV like Victor, ELS like Sam. revelsmusic@gmail.com. And Mike, you and I are going to talk a lot more off air and just enjoy each other's company.
As I told you, when we talked the first time on Monday night, I found like I had found a lost lifelong friend.
You're like a brother from another mother.
Another mother. I always love that. Always loved it. And guys, when you're listening, go find this gentleman's music, the new music he's got out, the older music he has, and listen to it. You'll be dancing whatever dance you want to do. Dance by yourself, dance with someone. You will dance. Thanks, Dave.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.